And day 5. Managed to keep up with it this long. In case you're wondering what that noise was. 5, 4. Fire and ice. Wow, I haven't worked on that in a while. Sorry. Move that. Okay, that is in the bottom drawer, which is covered by laundry at the moment, so I'm gonna turn this off rather than us go together to go get it. Yeah, because not only do you not want to see that, I don't think I can do that one-handed, so be back in a sec. And here's the drawer. We got it open. I'm not really completely sure where it's at, but I feel like it's on the bottom somewhere. Yep. There it be. Turn off the light. Let's go see where we're at on this. Outside. This is a pattern. Yeah, there's like 12 pages or something. You're not getting much out of that pattern. Ooh, you know what? I can make me a new... I might have some cool fabric that will look cool. Oh. Yes, I'm gonna do a new needle minder. Leave me alone. You should be aware of me doing stuff like this by now. One thing I do like about my needle minders, they're lighter. They're really very light. But this be where it's at. Yeah, I believe all of this is done. And I'm now starting over here. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But I think it's 9 pages, not 12. Oh, come on. When do I ever know what I'm talking about? This is so old. It was not masking taped. But it was taped. Check that out. Clear packaging tape. On that side. On that side. But not on the bottom. Don't ask me why I didn't do the bottom. This is me we're talking about. The back's pretty. But, yeah. We'll make a new needle minder. And then we should be able to do a stitch with me. So we'll get to that at some point. But, yeah. New needle minder. And then start the stitch with me. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, and here we are. We are doing stitch with me. This is my new needle minder. Isn't it pretty? It's a horsey head. Yes, I made it match. Just checking the time. Perfect. Perfect timing. Yeah, I wasn't thinking I should have this needle minder over here where it's of value. I brought my scissors this time. Yeah, trying to situate this. And I forgot to get thread ready, which, you know, is normal for me. So I'm gonna have to check it and see what color I need. And 902. Sorry, I'm a little bit raspiest today. That is 902, but I feel like I have one that is already started. Yeah, just at one of them days. Haven't done much of anything, haven't used my voice much, so I'm a little like Sorry about that. Sorry if I have to clear my throat too much. I hate it when people do that on their podcasts. I really do. I know I do it myself sometimes. I do hate it when I do it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Today, I sort of got a topic to talk about. Let's see here, 10 and 12. I don't know where this is at, because, yeah. We're gonna have to do a quickie little compare. Okay. I know what I'm doing now. Yeah, I just needed to know where to go. It happens. Sometimes you just need to know where to go, right? Yeah. Let me get a drink here real quick. As soon as I get this in place. Oh, I really did do that. Okay. Sorry for the silence. Hopefully that was entertaining to watch. Yeah. So, topic for today, we're gonna do a little true crime, a little serial killer, a little bit of serial killer stuff, because, well, why not? I quite enjoy that stuff. But, quick drink. Sorry about that. Yep, I'm burping a little. I don't know what I'm looking at. Quick count. 7. Okay. Once whoops, sorry. I hit the thing. You'll have to forgive me. This is gonna be an annoying one today. I apologize for that. Hold on. I realize I've got a little less light than I originally planned on having. We're gonna turn on the ring light. It's not quite where I wanted it to be, but wow, that helps a lot still. And it made this look a lot prettier. Anywho, so yeah, serial killers. I was actually watching a thing on Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer killed young men and was a necrophiliac. He was also known to cannibalize his victims, which is gross and creepy and weird. But I was watching a psychologist talking about him. And the psychologist had talked to his mother, and his mother said that Jeffrey may have killed people, but he never hurt anyone. Of course, we as people sit there going, what? That don't make no sense. And the psychologist explained that Jeffrey Dahmer actually killed people quite quickly. And the reason for this is that basically, hold on here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 6. Counting is going to be hard. This is just a really bad place to start this, and I apologize. I'm trying to get under there. This is so much easier to do when I don't think that's in the correct one. Nope, that's in the correct one. I was thinking correctly. That's unusual. But explained that Jeffrey Dahmer had been he wasn't a sadistic killer. He didn't enjoy killing necessarily. His desires was for, we'll say, companionship with somebody who was not living. Yeah. So he didn't torture victims before murdering them. He just killed them quickly, and that was that. So odd, very much so. And it just really brings to light a very different type of killer, serial killer. He was killed by an inmate who beat him to death. From what we know, he didn't put up a fight against it. He wanted to die. He did not want to be in jail, but he also knew that if he was not in jail, that he would probably do it again. Which is, of course, just something that those of us who can kind of control urges and generally don't have those types of urges, that's just not something that we'd have to think about. But this got me thinking about Ed Kemper. Now, Ed Kemper, I don't know what sort of torture or anything he did, because he was known as the co-ed killer. I don't remember what sort of torture he did. I would have to relook it up. But I do know, now Ed Kemper is probably one of the most fascinating serial killers to me, because he did turn himself in. And that's not generally, I know there's a theory out there that, all serial killers want to get caught. They want the fame, they want to be known. That's actually not true. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't count today worth anything. But yeah. Really, they want to keep getting away with it. Golden State Killer was on the run, if you want to call it that, for years and years and years. And he was just recently found, and he was found because of genetic genealogy. He didn't want to be caught. He had no desire to be caught. He was, he's in his 70s, and, they have him running around in his yard and doing all sorts of things, and then the moment he gets caught, suddenly he's a frail old man, and he's playing it up in a wheelchair, and, most serial killers don't want to get caught. Most of them don't have a conscience. Most of them are sociopaths. Necrophilia is quite common among them, but not all of them. Even though there's necrophilia involved, that does not mean that they do not torture their victims or assault them while the victims are still alive. Jeffrey Dahmer is one of them that did not. I can't remember if Ed Kemper did or not, though. And I wonder about this because he did turn himself in. It seems like he might not have had as much of a desire for a life partner as a deceased one. I'm not sure about that. And the fact that he turned himself in, he's got a really high IQ. Another misconception about serial killers. No, most serial killers have average IQs just like the rest of the population. Ed Kemper has a high IQ. I believe it's at 132-ish. I think they retested him at another time, and it came up as 135, but they don't really like using that one because they think he kind of knew how to play the system a little bit to get a higher score. So, yeah, I prefer to go with 132 as well. If he originally tested and then redid it, the test, it's like, you know, most people can do a little bit better the second go around. That's normal. So I'd prefer to go with the first number. Richard Ramirez, who is the original Night Stalker, actually had a below average IQ. And I think it was obvious when you would listen to him talk later on. He would use big words and not have any clue what he was talking about quite clearly. When people asked him to, like, elaborate, he couldn't. He'd just be like, oh, let's just leave it as it is. Clearly he was spouting stuff that he had seen somewhere else, heard somewhere else. I'd say read somewhere else. I don't think he was at a high enough reading level to do that, to be honest. But who knows? Who really knows? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th. Yeah, but Ed Kemper was one of those people that definitely did have a high IQ, or does have a high IQ. Believe it or not, he's one of them that is still alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double checking that. Yep. Nope, that's not right. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that is right. I'm counting things in the wrong way. Yeah. And he is not on death row, which is unusual for a, sorry, I'm gonna move this. I apologize. Please don't hate me. I keep bumping it. And I know I keep bumping it. And I've got multiple things in the way that's keeping me from moving it. Okay, sorry for the wiggle. Yeah, he's not on death row. He is actually up for parole like every single year. He's had 1 year in which he has not attempted parole. He's always denied parole for a good reason. He turned himself in after he killed his mother and his mother's best friend. He claims that all of his issues came about because of his mother. His mother did seem to be quite neglectful and rude to him, from what I know. Unfortunately, lots of people have mothers like that, and that does not make them turn into serial killers. So he knows the average individual is constantly looking for a reason, you know? What creates a serial killer? And we just don't have an answer to that, obviously. So he has created one. Maybe he's trying to figure out for himself what caused him to do that. I don't know. I don't think that is the reason that he did what he did. I think there was just that weird desire in him. And I think because he is highly intelligent, that he feels he can basically pretend to be your typical person, pretend to be the person that, you know, went down the wrong path and has seen the error of his ways. I'm not sure I believe he actually really truly cares. Why he turned himself in, I don't know. Maybe there was some sense of guilt. Maybe he was bored with it. You know, he got away with it and he hit the point where he didn't want to be doing it anymore. And he didn't want, you know, the police constantly looking for him. You know, could have done something like with the Golden State Killer. And, you know, he thinks he's free and clear for 20, 30 years or something, and then boom, you know, they catch him. Hard to say, you know. I just, you know, he talks a lot of crap, it seems like, most of the time. He was talking about how, you know, he was using psychology on the guys in the in one of the jails or prisons that he was in, and one of the guys was really annoying, so he set up this big old thing so that he was throwing water on the guy, and the guy was trying to figure out how he knew where he was at. And I'm not saying that didn't happen, I'm just saying he was bragging about how smart he was, you know. Oh yeah, you know, and I know all this psychology stuff, you know. And I was just kind of like, just not really feeling like I believed him. And again, I'm not saying that he didn't do that. He might have. But it just didn't seem like he was telling the truth. Yeah, and maybe that's where some of the issue rises, you know. Maybe that's why it feels like he, you know, is more sociopath, not really regretting what he did. He might have just gotten bored with what he was doing. Figured he'd, you know, like, you know, end it on his own terms, I guess you could say. I don't know. Maybe then again, maybe he is just remorseful, and at the same time, I find it very weird when somebody's like, oh yeah, I did this, you know, I deserve to be here, yet he, you know, goes up for parole every year. Okay. You know, why do you do that? Do you want to amend for what you've done? Well, our society says that to amend for your illegal activities and immoral activities, that you spend time in jail, and you spend the time that we tell you to spend in there. Which is another thing that makes me wonder where his morality is, because I feel like nobody wants to be, you know, stuck in prison, you know. Like, I get that. But it just seems like, oh, well, they said time was, you know, 20 years to life or whatever, you know. I'm up for parole. I've done 20 years and it's 20 years to life. 20 years should be enough, you know? And that's not necessarily the case. And I think if he was as kind of remorseful as he seems to claim he is, I feel like he would have possibly gotten out. Like, he's old. He's definitely not a threat anymore. Yet they keep him in there. I feel like the psychologists are probably like, yeah, no, we get that, you know, he's a changed man or whatever, you know. I mean, he turned himself in, but I feel like the psychologists in there know that you know, he's kind of full of it. I feel like if he wasn't, they would have, you know, let him out by now, or maybe even not necessarily that, but I don't know. I think we see indications of them wanting to move in that direction eventually, and they really don't, even with his age. But I'm not going to tell you the things he did. His was some necrophilia stuff as well. Also did include decapitating the body. So it was, I think that's another thing, you know. Oh yeah, I've learned the error of my ways. I don't see how you learn the error of your ways and think you deserve to be out of prison when you've done things to the extent that he has done things, you know. And while I think he probably, at his age, probably wouldn't be a threat to society, I think that's more of out of him not wanting to, like, do that stuff anymore. Like, it just doesn't entertain him anymore. So, more than any sort of remorse in his actions. But that's just my theory, and please keep in mind, I am not a detective, I am not a psychologist, I am not anything. So, my opinion is simply that, my opinion, you know. If it's something you want to learn about, or something you have your own opinion on, well, if it's something you want to learn about, you know, go check out sources of, you know, people with actual knowledge on these matters. And that does not mean the newspaper, and that does not mean, like, Reddit on the internet. Like, seriously, you need reliable, like, factual sources, not that sort of stuff. You can listen to people's opinions and views on YouTube. In fact, you can find interviews with him on YouTube. But again, people mistake opinions for fact quite frequently, and people mistake their own opinions as fact quite frequently. So, yeah. Learn the difference. That's all I can say, is learn the difference. You'll be better off. Trying to get that one clear over there. But, yeah, just, you know, just the whole concept of the Jeffrey Dahmer being a killer, being a serial killer, but not a statistic. Hopefully you know what word I'm trying to say, because clearly I can't say it. But not, not one of those types. Just really, really struck me, because we really always think of him as just, like, loving, like, torturing people, loving death, loving just the entire concept of it. And he didn't enjoy, really, it seems, killing people. He enjoyed them basically being dead. And he even talked about trying to, like, unbury a corpse and stuff like that, so that he wouldn't actually have to kill, which is kind of fascinating in a weird way. Or fascinating, the thought process he has is fascinating. The concept is not fascinating. I'm not that weird. I'm weird. I'm not that weird. But yeah, I mean, unburying someone who has been buried in modern cemeteries, not an easy task. For starters, they're 6 feet down. And it's not like you can get to one part of them and then kind of, go around them and get them out real quick. They're in a full coffin. So you have to unbury the coffin at least enough to be able to lift up the lid. Most lids actually have locking mechanisms on them now. So, I mean, and I think they average, 6 feet long and 4 feet wide or something like that. And that's just, that's a lot to dig up. 6 feet long, 6 feet down, 4 feet wide. That's a lot to dig up with a single shovel. I mean, the people who do it nowadays don't even use shovels. They use, heavy equipment. So, if that was easier, you probably would have gone that route. But yeah, it has definitely been the 25 minutes. And 30 minutes on here. I goofed off a little bit, so I should have put in 25 minutes worth. And yeah, so weird random talk, true crime again, because that's what I like to talk about, and I am not the only one. I know lots of crafty people that love to talk about true crime, love to watch true crime stuff, so I am not alone in this. Anyways, leaving it here. I'll be back tomorrow with another 24/7 spin. If I do a Stitch with Me, goodness only knows what I will talk about. Probably more true crime if something catches my attention, and if not, I don't know. We do have stuff always going on in the world. Seeing how, things like hurricane relief is going, because that's ever ongoing for years and years and years afterwards, of course. So maybe we'll check the news on that. Goodness knows what other... I don't watch the news as much as I should. I'm sorry. I tend to not be a highly political person, so there's so much politics in the news. And so we'll just have to wait and see Please also remember I'm recording this probably the day before it actually comes out, so anything new, if anything big has suddenly come out today, I wouldn't know about it in this. I'd know about it in tomorrow's. So tomorrow's might be, you know, the day after. So hopefully nothing of anything major is going on. There are tons of major things going on that I don't even notice, never even knew happened. You know, mass shooting a few days ago. As always, they happen weekly. That's why we don't notice them anymore. You'd think if, you know, I don't know. There was a thought there. It went. You'd think that I need to just end this here, which is what I'm gonna do. And I will see you tomorrow with another WIP Challenge dice roll and a new project. Another Vlogtober vlog for tomorrow. Yay! So far, doing okay with this. Having fun. 31 days. Maybe I'll get sick of doing it. It's so hard to say. Have to wait and see. Either way, ending this here, and I'll see you later. Bye.